Zenith is quite an odd game, but it shouldn't surprise you. Such a daunting game will have a lot of random quirks that have nearly no impact on your playthrough, but are quite funny to come across. Take a look at this. No, it's not the fact that the chest is underwater, we've seen plenty of those, but take a look where it is. Wow, that's far. And that's only scratching the surface of weirdly placed chests. How about this chest? What? You're telling me there's no chest? Well, that's because it is literally inside the terrain. Even with the Emerald Desert's interesting choice of collision, you can't find this chest. But it does exist. It's shown on your minimap and you can grab the loot when you open it. It makes me wonder if the developers placed this chest intentionally or if it was a genuine misclick during chest placement. But a chest I do think was intentional is this one. No, not that one. That one. Yeah, it confuses me too. The idea of buried treasure is a really fun idea, but I would never look to this island from afar and think, that's a real chest. The chests in this game have one texture, and any player would assume that this chest is just decoration. But the part that baffles me the most is that the real and fake chests aren't even next to each other. They're a few feet apart. Why? No, wait. Why? This chest has been here since alpha, and honestly it's quite the monument at this point. There are a few chests that hover a bit due to the weird collision on some terrain, but I have no explanation for this one. There isn't anything for this chest to sit on, and after you open it, it seems to disappear completely from reality. Even though I could stand on its invisible state after I opened it. It's just once I got off, it just seemed to disappear. Now, let's step back a bit, all the way to the beginning of the game. The Academy is an awesome addition to the new beginning of Zenith, but one part always perplexed me. Near the end of your run through the Academy, you get attacked by evil forces as they throw a bunch of terrain around you. It made me wonder, with the sudden change to the time of day and the loading of new terrain around you, where does it actually take you? Well, nowhere. Even though your perception of the Academy has changed, the other players are still there. It's honestly really impressive that in a game where clients need to connect to each other, they can just make player-specific events like this. But some other bits of interest about the Academy come into play if you've made your account before the Academy's introduction. You are able to earn a fast travel there through Mika in the city, but when you arrive there isn't a story to follow and none of the NPCs even spawn, besides for some of the hologram enemies. But the portal to escape is always there, even if you haven't been attacked and actually need to escape. Kind of funny, isn't it? Oh, you don't think it is? Well, how about desert carrots? I just thought this was a bit of a funny place to put carrots. There's 2 spawns in desert-like areas besides the Galian Valley, which makes actual sense because of its farmland. But the more I think about it, I really don't think carrots can grow in sand, but somehow they managed to do it. Quite an accomplishment by the Zenithians. I will say, I don't mind it with how difficult it is to find carrots in a populated area sometimes. Now let's get into some more real oddities. Let's take a trip to the Underside. Most of you watching this who have played Zenith will not bat an eye at the situation the Underside was put in, as it was just a tutorial area and an iconic starting location. But for many of you new players, you've likely never been here. It's weird to think about it, but the Underside is nearly an obsolete location after the Academy took over. Now, it's not completely obsolete, there are some creatures to catch and some tiers to collect, and even a random side quest to collect mushrooms growing on the walls of the area, but it has no purpose in the story, and many players are likely never going to experience this place if they don't heavily search their map for a fast travel in a place that isn't even on the main map. I mean, it is such a beautiful place, way more detailed than some of the main locations. I do hope to see more content here. Oh, speaking of obsolete, let's talk invasions. It's weird that there's now multiple places that were once extremely crucial areas, but are now never used. Invasions were the endgame content before the Celestial Throne update, a repeated grinding sequence for a unique endgame material, which had its texture changed to match the currency aspect that the Celestial Throne update brought to us. The armor you got for this is really cool too, so it might make this armor really rare in the future, as more people focus on the raid armor, since it has the best stats. I did end up grinding 2 pieces of the Kitsune armor, and I really like them a lot. Even if I do end up getting armor with better stats, it's a really nice cosmetic piece. I'm sure there's guilds out there setting up times to grind these, as there's definitely people who are interested in these sets, cosmetically, but in a standard server, nobody cares about them anymore. And I can safely tell you that I cannot do this event alone, you will need to have a very high eye level to even try. Another thing you'll need a high eye level for is this dungeon, and this dungeon always fascinated me. It's an overworld dungeon, and the only overworld dungeon that has extreme similarities to the Celestial Throne dungeons, but it's been out since release. You can tell that it's extremely dated due to the rewards you get. None of these rewards will get you top tier armor, It's also timed, so it urges you to complete it without taking your time, a concept I think would be really interesting and fun for the raids and dungeons we have now. Now, it isn't obsolete, there's plenty of chests and some tiers around the area, but if you aren't gonna 100% the game, you're probably never gonna bother to explore this area in depth. It is right next to the fast travel, so there's a near guarantee you'll see it as long as you reach Queen's Path, but once you see the rewards, it'll definitely turn most players away. Oh. Well, that's the way to end a video.